It's up to
Annette?
you, Tom, and
Well, why don't we go ahead and get started? We have a quorum, right?
No,
Ooh,
we do not.
we need
Other-
one more.
we need one more.
We knew Alex would be unable to attend tonight. Oh, here's David.
All right.
Now we have a quorum.
Well, with that, let's go ahead and call the meeting to order. First order of business will be roll call.
All right, Don Robertson.
Present.
Alex is excused. Sarah Schwartz is excused. David Frames.
Present.
Stacy McMahon.
Present.
Upekala Wijaretny.
Present.
And it looks like Will is connecting now. Will, do you have audio yet? All right, present. Roll call complete. We have
All
a
right, way to
quorum.
go, Sarah. That was excellent. So with that, do we have any public members with us this evening? Anybody wishing to make any public comments? None? Okay. Well, in that case, consent agenda. Do we have a motion for approval of the minutes? I know it's weird to vote on minutes that you didn't necessarily participate in, but
I'll make a motion.
excellent. Is there a second? Anybody? Anybody going once, going twice? I'll second the motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Hi.
Anybody opposed? No? Okay. Are there any changes, requested changes to the agenda? Don't see any, so let's move right into new business, and I will turn it over to Rochelle.
Great. Okay, well, part of what we're going to do tonight is go through a board orientation. And Sarah and I will be tag teaming it back and forth. But before we start that, I would like to introduce somebody who I'm considering him a special guest. And we have with us Joe Preston, who's our Parks crew leader. And I'm just so thrilled he's joining us tonight. And he has been working just really hard through the storms and clearing snow and de-icing. And so I'm so happy he's here. And I'm hoping I can convince him to come to more meetings and educate us on the wealth of information that he has. I think, Joe, you've worked for the city. Oh, you're frozen. I think it's been 25-ish yees. So I don't know if he's frozen on your end, but he is on ours. But yay, it's a permanent wave, which is great. So he's our special guest. Okay, so to start out the orientation, I would really like to introduce yourselves and within 60 seconds, talk about, introduce who you are, how long you've lived with the city, and then I'm really curious a little bit about you. So if you have something in your space behind you, I want you to tell us about it. And this will be our icebreaker. So take a second and think of something that you might want to talk about. I'll go first to be the guinea pig on this, okay? So my name is Rochelle, and I've worked and lived in the city. I actually live in Southeast Portland. I've worked for the city for 2 months. My anniversary was on the 8th. So it's been lovely. Here's my show and tell. This is my son, Gibson.
Yay.
I know. So he's in kindergarten and his hair is yes, it's blue and orange. And I did send him to school for his first school picture with a hole in his shirt. So mom of the year. Okay. And I will, I'll tag Sarah next.
Oh, boy. Okay. Hi, everybody. I'm Sarah Richardson. I am the recreation manager here with the city. Been here a long time. So obviously I like my job a lot. I should say, my dog Bruno. Laura, you look like, what is that? It's my dog Bruno. I worked for a lot of years up on the mountain, and I was privileged to be Bruno's mom. He came and went to work with me, and it was just awesome to have a St. Bernard to take to work and play in the snow with every day. Best dog ever. And he sits normally right over here.
Do you want to take someone, Sarah, to go next?
Oh, how about Stacy?
Okay, Sarah, that's not the St. Bernard the Timberline St. Bernard, is it? Oh, I didn't know. That's so cool.
Yeah, he was, it's been quite a long time now since he was the St. Bernard. He's passed on now, but he was the best one we ever
Oh, that's
had.
awesome. I'm Stacy. I just moved to Sandy in August. We bought a house here and it's 5 minutes from Joe's Donuts. So we're lucky in that way and we love living here. And then beside me is my cat, Tupac. He'll probably be running in and out all night. So I'm happy to be here and to meet all of you guys. And then I will tag Peck.
All right, this might be the last time I'll be able to be on video because I keep getting messages about my internet. But yeah, so my name's Upekala Wijay Ratney, but everyone please call me Peck. And you've got me beat, Stacy, because I moved here in April, so I'm a little bit longer than you are. I thought maybe I was the most recent Sandy resident. And let's see, I moved here from Baker City, so it's quite different in terms of the winter climate, but I'm in the bookshelf. But I guess this would be an interesting thing to show. It's my wedding photo, and we just had our 14th in a sari because we actually got married in Sri Lanka. So
Nice.
there's that. That's me.
Oh, did we lose?
I
Okay.
have to, nope. I just had to turn off. I wanted to turn that off before I lost everybody like altogether. So, so I will tag Will.
My name's Will Too Good. I have you all beat because I moved this weekend, though I moved from Sandy, where I lived in Sandy before I moved to Sandy. I've been here 20 years. And yeah, just moved up to a neat little place. So I'm pretty pleased, but I have nothing behind me because it's all in boxes. But I do have this. No, she doesn't want to pay attention. So what I have behind me is a 50th anniversary Mount Hood Meadows. This is my girl that goes everywhere. That's Lucy. So
Nice.
goes up to Mount Hood Meadows a lot too. So anyway, that's me. And are we out of contestants?
I think we have, well, Lori needs to go and then David.
Lori's saying no, so I'll tag Lori then, seeing as she doesn't want to.
Yeah, I'm just an observer. So I'd show you guys my dog, but he's sacked out. I beat him up hiking in the gorge today. It was such a nice day. So I'll show you my pesky. This is Marley. So, and she'll probably make an appearance too. So that's why I moved earlier, because she was actually clawing me in the back because I wasn't paying attention to her. So, and I guess, well, we've got either Dawn or David. So Dawn, I guess you're next.
All righty. Well, I'm Don Robertson. I have lived here in Sandy for about 3 years now. I've been active in Parks and Rec for about 35 years, not here in Sandy, but professionally throughout the state. Behind me is a bar, and I promise not to dip into anything during the meetings. Or at least, obviously, dip into anything during the meetings. But if my screen goes out, who knows? And David, you want to finish us up?
Man, it's a good thing nothing's changed since grade school. I'm always the last one picked. My name's David Breams. I spent my first 10 years here in Sandy, and now I've spent my last 13 years here. I moved back when my son was born in 2008, and Sandy's my home. So this is where I'm probably going to end up staying for a while. I'm actually sitting on the stairs because I've got both of my two favorite little things here. One's Daisy and one's Jazzy. Daisy, you want to say hi? Daisy, don't be camera shy. And then you got Jazzy on this side. So,
Nice.
but besides the guy with 20 years, I think I'm the next oldest one here. The next, at least the longest resident. So.
Very good.
All right, and thanks, David, for that. And then Joe, we don't want to forget you.
I lost my audio and video. It just totally went bye-bye.
Yeah, that's okay. Well, do you just take a second to introduce yourself and what you do for the city, how long you've lived with this in the city, and then anything you want to tell us about in your background.
You bet. Yeah,
Okay.
my name is Joe Preston. I've been with the city of Sandy now for little over 26 years. And I started under Mike Walker's direction, Public Works and Parks. I kind of remember when Sandy, I had Mining Park, I had Tupper Park, and the Johnsford Viewpoint, and that was it. And I would help the Public Works crew also doing projects. And it's just a great place to work. I've seen Sandy grow, and I love the parks. And I think we're under great direction with Rochelle here.
I know, I said please.
Oh.
Oh, sure. Nice meeting you, Joe.
Oh yeah, I guess that puts me in third for the longest Sandy resident now.
It's a good contest. So, well, thank you. I hope that wasn't too extremely painful. We'll dive right into the orientation part of this, and I do appreciate getting to know everybody a little bit more. So thank you for that. I think we're on a really fun and exciting next couple of years, and so thank you for your time to be here and offering it to the city. So real quick, just some housekeeping items. Future, when Sarah and I are sending out these Google requests or these meeting requests, that's how we're going to communicate to the board upcoming meetings. And in those meetings, there'll be a Zoom link, and we'll also send it out in an email. But just make sure, and I appreciate everybody who RSVP'd, because it's really helpful for us and Dawn to take a look at who's planning on attending. It ensures a quorum, and then it helps us with excused absences. So we do understand that things happen and people need to be certain places, but it helps us kind of keep track of it. So we'll send out that Google Calendar request. And then 5 to 7 days prior to the meeting, Sarah and I will send out a link to iCompass. And iCompass is where you can get the full agenda packet. It's also an avenue to watch previous meetings, which at the end of the orientation here, we may or may not give you some homework. And you can go into iCompass and find those previously recorded meetings. And I guess with that, Sarah, did I miss anything? Otherwise, I'm going to hand it over to you.
Okay, thank you. I am going to share my screen. Stay tuned here. Okay, can everybody see the cover of the binder? Great. Okay, thanks, Lori. So I'm gonna just share information about, it's not allowing me to go forward. Give me a second, there we go. So this is the binder that you all have now, either electronically or a hard copy. We're not gonna spend a tremendous amount of time on this tonight, but I just wanted to give a little bit of an overview. This is meant to be a starting point, a jumping off point, a quick reference. All of the information in here is available on the city's website or the county's website or the state's website. And we'll go through just a few things here with the table of contents. So in the beginning here, and these are all live links if you happen to have the electronic version, is board information, contact information. You'll have a list of the bylaws and the roles and responsibilities. Rochelle will dive into those a little bit deeper here in a minute. Have the meeting schedule for this year. The council goals for the next couple years, really important to be familiar with those. The organizational chart for the city to help you understand a little bit how the city as a whole is organized. A little introduction to the Parks and Trails Master Plan. The whole document's not included here, but it is available on the website. And we're going to look at the website here in a moment. A section on staff reports. We included just a couple samples so you get a feel for what a staff report might include. Oftentimes the staff report comes with support materials along with it. And then in there is just a little story of a recent policy that the board had a huge impact on, and really because of their work and their interest and their concern about that issue, it's now a formal policy. And I hope that inspires the board. You really have the opportunity to have an impact. The next section is the municipal code. 3 in particular that are directly related to parks. There's a couple other listed in that section that you might want to look at that have some parks pieces in them. Terminology, I always say, you know, this is something I wish I had when I started with the Parks Board. I had no idea what an FSH was. And so this is motivated by my own experience. Some information about the Parks Capital Fund, system development charges, and fee in lieu in particular. An overview of the UGB and the UGR, standard procedures, public meeting law, which we'll go over in a minute. And the City of Sandy, just a brief overview of the comprehensive plan and the transportation system. Much of what is currently in this document is under significant review. That includes our parks codes, the city codes 17.32, 17.86 being thoroughly reviewed. The Parks Board has had a chance to review them, but we'll have a little more information about that coming up. The city is undertaking an update to the comprehensive plan and the transportation system plan, as well as a thorough review and an update to our system development charges and our fee in lieu. So that is the guide in a nutshell. Do you have any questions about that at all? Okay, I'm going to stop sharing.
I have one quick question. Is there a net change from last year?
Oh, in the binder?
Yeah.
There's a few additions. Will, did you get the electronic version?
I have the electronic version, and I have the hard copy from a year ago.
Yeah, you're probably okay. I mean, there are some additions. I pulled out a few things, and there's a few additions. But it's all there in the electronic version. If you want that hard copy, we can get it to you.
Yeah, I might stop by and grab that if it's still available.
Okay, be nice to see you in person. Be great.
Yay.
Okay, I'm going to stop sharing this. Are there any other questions? Okay, so the next piece is just a quick tour of, coming back here. Oh, no. Okay, I almost shut myself off. Here we go. Quick tour of the city's website. I think everybody's fairly familiar with this, but we wanted to show you a couple things. The first is this public meetings portal. This is where all the city's scheduling and access to our public meeting is homed, all right here. So for instance, tonight, you see our meeting here. And if you click on that, it's going to bring up the agenda. When you go to download materials for the meeting, it's all a public record. And so it'll be available here in your agenda packet. Make sure you select that and not just the agenda, because this will include your staff reports and other supporting material. And it's also great if you want to listen in on other meetings, or you want to go back and view a meeting by the recording or read the minutes. This is your public meeting portal. And then we'll go back here to, do you see the homepage again for the website? Okay, so then the next thing we're going to look at is just how to find more information on the city's municipal code. I find this the easiest way to find the code is just to put it in the search. And then you're going to see this search municipal code over here. And it takes you to this wonderful searchable website where all the codes are listed, including our parks related codes, parks and trails codes. But you might find it interesting to look at a few others. Light reading for you there. And then the last thing we're just going to show you here is if you go to Parks and Recreation, There's some nice things you can locate here. So you'll see this is where you're going to find the Parks and Trails Master Plan, the current and updated version for 2021. And also we have this great parks directory. So if you're ever kind of trying to figure out exactly where a park is located, this is a great handy little tool. You click on the specific park and it's going to give you a little information and dial in the map for you. So that's a quick tour of that. Any questions about the website at all? Okay, I need to back up a little bit to your, sorry, go ahead, David.
Is there a better mapping map or an app or something that maps out the Barlow Trail, or not Barlow Trail, I'm sitting there looking at your page, the Tickle Creek Trail that shows what part of the trails are connecting together and what's not connecting together? So, I mean, you can start at one end of the trail and walk the whole thing, or does that not exist?
You know, we have a hard copy of the parks map that I think probably has a better version, but I'm not sure there is one on the website. It's a good suggestion. You know, this is what comes up when you click Tickle Creek Trail.
Sarah, I second that would be a great thing. I've been looking for that too because I run there, and the distance that it says the trail is, I can't make that distance with the trail that I know how to get to. So there must be more of the trail that I can't find.
Yeah, and it does these interesting little sort of on and off. You jump on and off the trail at different points, and so maybe we need to look at making sure that's a little clearer. It's a good suggestion.
Might be a good candidate for all trails too. It's not available on all trails. But
all trails, okay. I'll look into that.
We can. Well, you can actually volunteer it. So I'll look into that. You can create an alternate map and have it promoted. It wouldn't be part. You know, it would be a link on the website rather than a map. But all trails would give you the accurate distances and everything.
Okay, great. Good suggestions. Yeah, as he's looking, this is basically what we have currently. No, I went out too far.
And there are some
go ahead, sorry.
There are some trails in the in your binder in the manual. We did stick this in there, which does have some trails, but I don't think as detailed as you're speaking about, David. So
yeah, no, nothing I could find online shows which trails connect to each other, where the start of the trail is. You know, I'm thinking maybe like a key where it shows, you know, where you have to jump onto the sidewalk and then cross the street to get to the next trail. You know, something more detailed, you know, like that where it actually pinpoints out.
Absolutely, those are great suggestions. Thanks. We'll follow up on that. Any other questions about the website? Okay, I do need to go back to your binder. In the back, I believe is where we put it. There is a document, which is the code of conduct for boards and commissions. We would ask that you read through that, sign it and get us a copy back. We are going to send an electronic version that you should be able to sign electronically and just save it and send it back to us. So look for that. Read through that document. If you have any questions about it, please reach out to us. But it should be in the back of your binder. If you didn't pick up a new binder, again, we'll send it out electronically to everybody. Any questions about that? Okay, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And I have one more topic here, and that is public meeting law, the driest of them all, but very, very important for us. And I like this. It says public bodies must conduct business in public. It's really that simple. That is it in a nutshell, but a little bit more information for you is the Parks and Trails Advisory Board is considered a quorum when 4 people are meeting. So anytime 4 board members are together and discussing information about parks and trails, things that are in their purview, that is considered a public meeting. We don't want to be emailing back and forth discussing board issues because that becomes a question of public meeting as well. You certainly can email Rochelle and Dawn and I and ask questions and do that kind of outreach. But in terms of board and board members discussing issues that are on the agenda, particularly when it comes to what kind of decisions you might be making, that we cannot do, okay? Your email is considered public record, as are text messages and things of that nature. So I wanted to be sure you were aware of that. We don't use the chat function during our board meetings because that is also then considered public record, and it's very difficult. You can't see that during a recorded meeting. So we don't use the chat function. Let's see, what else is on my list here? There is a new law that went into effect on January 1st, and it's basically allowing or actually requiring that going forward that we provide hybrid meetings, meaning that we will continue to make access available virtually, both to board members and to the public, so that they can attend meetings virtually going forward on a permanent basis. They'll also be able to provide testimony via electronic means, so things like email. I think that's a positive development. Rochelle can probably talk about how we're going to manage our meetings going forward a little later in the meeting. Any questions? That's really, you know, those are the main things, but I do encourage you to read that section of your binder just so, you know, you're really familiar with public meeting law. And if you have any questions, do reach out to us. Did I miss anything there, Rochelle, Dawn, on those? Okay. Rochelle, I believe that is
My turn.
you're next. Yeah.
Great. I get to talk bylaws, which is more interesting than public meeting laws. So real quick, just going to read from the bylaws. This is on page 6 in your manual. And the board's purpose is stated in the bylaws as the board advises the Sandy City Council through the Sandy City staff member in charge of supporting the board on the evaluation and development of parks, trails, and facilities to meet current and future needs of the city of Sandy and its service area. The Parks Board will participate actively in the goals, aims, and purpose of Parks and Trails. So that's a really good guiding North Star for us as we move forward and as Dawn helps set agendas and sets the agendas. So ideally, the board will consist of 7 members and they're appointed for 4 terms, both odd and even years. So there's not a transition of all the board members at once. And one of the board members can live outside of the urban growth boundary or the urban reserve area outside city limits. And there is a city council liaison, and Councilor Lori Smallwood is our esteemed council liaison. So thank you for being here and our liaison for that, Lori. And she is considered a non-voting ex officio participant, and she can participate in discussions and deliberations, but is not considered part of the quorum and cannot vote on an item. So the other reason I wanted to talk about the bylaws is to also mention there are officer positions available. Dawn is our chair, and we currently do not have a vice chair or a secretary position filled. So if you are interested in either one of those, we're hoping that will be a future agenda item where we, if you want to throw your name in the hat and be the Parks Board Vice Chair or the Secretary, please submit that to Dawn or to Sarah and I, and it's something we can hopefully vote on in the next meeting. So think about that. That's one piece of homework for everybody. So, okay. Any questions on that quick overview of our bylaws? Okay.
I'm not sure I understand.
Whoops. I just said my Apple Watch just talked to me. I guess my Apple Watch had a question. Okay, so let's talk really quick about staff roles and the Parks Board roles. And this is really important. And to summarize the Parks Board and how important you are, you're an advocate for the Parks and Recreation Department. And our role as staff will be to provide you information, updates, and supporting materials and items that are related to Parks and Trails issues, and specifically on agenda items. We're going to ask and seek input and formal recommendations on issues such as budget input, projects that are related to Parks and Trails. And then our job as staff is to identify funding sources and resources. And then we're going to implement goals and priorities that are talked about and recommended by the Parks Board that align with the City Council goals. And that's our job as a staff. So talking about the Parks Board roles. There's a flow chart in your manual that basically summarizes the Parks Board roles. And again, it reiterates the purpose that was taken from the bylaws. And I just quickly want to talk about how agenda items are set. And so agenda items will typically come forward in one or more ways. So we have someone from the staff that will bring it forward, someone from the public that could bring it forward, or another board member, or a combination thereof. And real quick, just to make sure that we're all on the same page as far as the setting agenda items, if Sarah and I have a suggestion for an agenda item, we'll go to the Parks Board Chair, who then the staff and the chair will discuss the agenda item and the timing of it, and if it should be on the agenda. If another Parks Board member has an agenda item they would like for consideration, follow the same route where it would go to the chair, and then the chair would discuss with Sarah and I about the timing of that and if it should be on the agenda. And if there's someone from the public that brings something forward, then it would be the same process where if it comes to Sarah and I, we would take it to Dawn, and then vice versa. If it comes to Dawn, he would take it to Sarah and I. And ultimately, Dawn is the chair of the Parks Board and gets to set the agenda. But it's a good mechanism to keep it streamlined and help us prioritize what gets on the agenda. So, are there any questions about setting an agenda item before I move on? Okay, hearing none. So real quick, going back to the flow chart. So the roles and responsibilities of the Parks Board. So the Parks Board gets to plan for the future. The Parks Board will evaluate the needs within the city and advise the department on items related to parks and trails, and you'll help establish short and long-term goals and recommend priorities. You'll become knowledgeable about funding sources. So you could be, and in the future, an advocate for the Parks and Recreation Department's budget and in the community. And your job is not to manage the budget, it's to be knowledgeable of the budget. And then when we bring certain things to provide recommendations. As Park Board members, you'll develop relationships. And this will include helping inform community and build public support. So for example, you might assist in helping with community outreach, which is another important function of the Parks Board. And then help recruit and train new members. So here's my shameless plug again for Vice Chair and Secretary, recruiting and training other members. That is a role and responsibility. Plus I'm checking to see if everyone's listening. Yes. Okay. Stay knowledgeable about legislation and ballot proposals. And Sarah and I will make sure that if things come up that will affect Parks and Recreation, to keep you informed of some of those pieces of legislation that might be coming through. And then importantly, understanding your scope of authority. So again, the Parks Board is going to provide formal recommendation to Council on parks and trails related policy and budget. You'll provide formal recommendations to the Planning Commission and Council on land dedication and fee in lieu. And the Parks Board is an important part of the process for advocating for our department. And at times, the board may recommend something that is weighed by the council, and ultimately the council has the final decision and authority to make a policy different in policy decisions. And so in other words, you recommend and advise, and the council sets policy. And then this one I think is very important, is the Parks Board provides a space for public comment. So the board is an avenue for the public engagement so the community can provide comments on parks and trails related items. So any questions on Parks Board roles or any clarifications I can make before I move on? Good? Okay. Okay, just interrupt if you do have a question. Okay, so how can Sarah and I support you moving forward? So Sarah, who, thank you, she does a fantastic job of the meeting minutes, so thank you for doing that. She's going to continue to do the meeting minutes. It's a lot of work, so thank you, Sarah, I do appreciate that. Both Sarah and I will help arrange other departments who need to come in and present on specific agenda items. We will make sure that we have staff reports completed and done in a timely manner for your review if you have any questions. And then if you do have questions, please make sure to email Sarah, myself, and Dawn, and we're happy to answer any questions you might have. So I guess with that, I'm handing it back over to Sarah unless there's any other questions. And I think she's going to also ask about a vice chair and a secretary again. No pressure. So
we're gonna hit you with this several times tonight. I just wanted to explain the roles a little bit. So the main purpose of the vice chair position is to manage the meeting in Dawn's absence or the chair's absence. And I've never known our current chair to miss a meeting. However, he might want to go on vacation. So it would be really nice to have a vice chair. Oh, Will says no, Dawn. He says you can't go on vacation. Be great to have a vice chair to help cover in the event that he does get an opportunity to do that. And of course, you know, we're always going to be there to support you and to help you manage that meeting. So give it a,
Sarah, I was
Yes.
talking to you about it already. I'll throw my name in there in the hat regarding, as long as Dawn doesn't go on vacation at the same time I want to go on it.
Well, we'll let you guys coordinate that. Okay, good. There's one person who's interested. So we'll probably address this at the next meeting, Rochelle, Dawn, you think?
Yeah.
And then the secretary's position, I just want to clarify, it does say in the bylaws that the secretary keeps the minutes, but really staff will keep the minutes. And I am making a commitment to you publicly that those minutes are going to be done in a timely fashion, unlike today. And then hopefully have the chance to get them to the secretary and have that person just take a look at them, just, you know, catch any major things that we may have missed, and then forward them to the board after that. So I don't want to scare somebody off to think that you would be responsible for the minutes. So I want to clarify that. We do have some homework tonight. We would appreciate it if the board could review the parks codes, parks and trails codes. I do want to reiterate that those are under significant review, but I think it's important, especially for our new board members, to have a framework, a foundation of what those codes currently are, so that when and if we are looking again at changes, you have a reference point. And then please take the time to review the master plan, you know, break it down into chunks, maybe just 10, 15 minutes every night. Take in a little bit between now and our next meeting, but it's actually pretty fun to read. So you may find yourself just diving in there. But we would love it if you could just get pretty comfortable with that document, because we're going to start implementing, right? Okay, any questions about any of that? Okay. Wow, another record potentially meeting. We're not quite done yet, but look at Dawn, he's so happy.
Dawn, we'll hand it over back to you briefly. If there's anything you want to talk about on the agenda, otherwise we're already at agenda item number 8. So is there anything you want to add, or old business, or?
No, I do want to congratulate you guys on a job well done of walking us through all the information. It was very straightforward and very entertaining. David, thanks for throwing your hat in the ring. Very much appreciate that. And I promise to kind of coordinate vacation schedules with you too. Not a big deal. It's not like I go on tons of vacations, but I have been known to go on 1 or 2 periodically. So that would be terrific. Otherwise, if we're done with those presentations, let's go ahead and move on to the rest of our agenda, which is not a lot of agenda. We don't have any old business. We do have some staff updates. So with that, I believe, Rochelle, you're up first.
Okay. So I just wanted to provide a quick update on some of the things that I've been working on for the last 2 months. So we are working on the community campus, and the important piece of this to mention to this group is the Pool Exploratory Task Force is in the final leg of completing their work, and their draft recommendation will be going to the council, meeting the deadline at the end of January. And the full report will be available to the public in the very near future. So that's an exciting development, something that Jeff Proddy has been working on with the Pool Exploratory Task Force. So it's exciting to be part of this project. And the Parks Board will receive updates and be very informed on how this is going as we move forward. So the community campus, I think I spoke with everybody individually about this, but is the Cedar Ridge Middle School and the Olin Bignall Aquatic Center, and what the future of that site may look like. So Sarah and I have been working hard to hire for some key positions here at the senior center, and we're working towards gearing up to be back to staff prior to COVID, so we can open up the facility and start offering additional programs and services. So we're looking forward to that. And I've been working with Sarah and planning on the SDC and fee in lieu update. So please stay tuned for more details when it comes to that. Currently, we're in a transition from one attorney to another. So we're working on getting some of some of that information transferred and working on. So Joe is, kudos to him. I mean, I know he's no longer on the line, but I'll tell him this tomorrow, but they've been working really hard on an asset management and work order software for the Parks Department and facilities. And so that'll be an internal communication software that will help identify not only park assets and prioritize safety and safety inspections, but it's a way to identify and report on work efficiencies, and it has wonderful communication aspects. And then so we're really excited. Joe's team gets a lot of credit for working on that. So and then we will be bringing a future update about a code amendment. So what Sarah had mentioned earlier about just checking out, especially the October 2021 meeting about the code amendments. So we're continually working on that, and I'm working with, again, the community development director on those codes. And so that's something I'll also keep the group updated and work with Dawn on if that needs to become an agenda item again, and might be bringing this back to the group. So, and then I wanted to celebrate Sarah because she received a Recreation Trails Program grant through Oregon Parks and Recreation Department for approximately $35,000. And so it'll be a connection trail from the community campus, that park behind the campus, down into Sandy River. So we're making movements. So Sarah, yeah, super excited. That was one of the first pieces of news I got when I started. So congratulations, Sarah, on that. I think that's great. So well done. And then we'll have a future agenda items, but I will follow my own advice and process and run them through Dawn. And looking forward to continually working with this group and having a robust agenda. So, all right, Donna, hand it back to you. So.
All righty. Sarah, congratulations on the grant. I think that's fantastic. And nice to see us making a little bit of progress down in that area too. Do you have an update for us?
You know, actually, I don't have any updates for you tonight.
What?
I know, right?
Well, that's okay. We got a lot. Rochelle, going back one quick question. I know with the new year, most city councils, and I believe Sandy's is no exception to that, tend to take it as an opportunity to, kind of peruse their old resolutions or their goals in this case. I know we have a copy of them in our binder. I know that they're working on a 2-year budget. And I know this is kind of the midterm of the 2-year budget. Is there any discussion about them reviewing their goals, possibly updating them? And will there be opportunities for us to maybe chime in on suggestions?
You want me to tackle that one?
Go for it. Yes, absolutely. Go for it. Yep.
Yeah. So, Dawn, to answer your question, we should be doing a goal setting session here in the next few weeks. I think Jordan had sent out a Survey Monkey to try and get everybody's schedule. So I look for a goal setting session sometime in February. So if you guys have some suggestions and you would like me to take those into those, I would love to do that. So by all means, utilize me in that avenue.
Very, very good. Okay, that was all. I have any other members like to have any comments? Anybody have anything to say? Not seeing anything. Joe, again, I want to welcome you to the meeting tonight. Thanks for coming out. I look forward to getting to know you a little bit better and working with you. And I want to commend you on I was scrolling through my wife's Facebook feed, not stalking, just kind of looking through there, and came across a note on the community forum, I believe it was. Somebody throwing a good shout out to you and your crew and staff regarding the maintenance up at Tickle Creek Trail. You know, that's definitely one of our flagships. I don't think there's a family in town that hasn't at some point in time taken advantage of it or will take advantage of it. And I know that I spend a fair bit of time out there with my grandchildren, walking and looking at painted rocks and maybe even hiding one or two near the trail, not off the side where we're impacting it. But anyway, it was just really exciting to see a good shout out from the community and recognition of all the fine work you and your staff do. So thank you very much.
And
Whoops.
oh, go ahead. Go
No,
ahead,
go
Don.
ahead.
Sorry. I was just going to say thank you for Joe on his behalf, and then I'll make sure he watches this tomorrow and let him know that he got a shout out. So
Okay.
he'll really appreciate that. So thank you.
Good deal. Well, with that, that's all I have. I believe that takes us to item number 9, which is adjournment. You know, 47 minutes, not too bad, but I'm sure we'll have plenty of longer meetings in the not too distant future. This is probably a nice average for me, but anyway, we'll hold that in reserve because we will have more weighty topics at some point.
I'm okay with the short meetings.
Yeah, so am I. I always felt that anything over 60 minutes, and it's really hard, but anyway. All right, with that, we will meet next time on February 9th, my favorite